It's 7 a.m. and I've done it again. Not something monumental, just me sitting at my desk, scrolling manhwa. One chapter turns into 10, 10 turns into just one more. And by the time I realize it, the morning is gone. And I love mornings. You know, the quiet ones where the air feels electric and the world hasn't caught up yet. Those mornings feels like anything is possible. But when I stay up chasing an ending that doesn't even matter, I kill that version of me, the one who thrives. We all do this, do we? Sabotaging tomorrow for the sake of tonight. For me, it's binging anime, manga, manhwa. For you, it might be Netflix, infinite scrolling, or replaying imaginary arguments in your head. It feels harmless in the moment, but it's actually not. Because those small choices, the one we barely think about, they are actually anchors holding us to the version of ourselves we have outgrown. I used to call it procrastination, and some call it comfort. But really, it's just one thing: fear. Fear of starting something without knowing how it will end, fear of the discomfort that comes with change, fear of showing up and failing. But you know what? These fears, they aren't going anywhere. They were programmed within us to keep us safe, and they will always be there whispering that it's safer to stay the same, to hold on to familiarity, than moving forward into the unknown. Now, when I say that they are not going anywhere, I don't mean that. We are stuck with them, right? We can't get rid of them like discarding an item. Fears is energy. It's not going to go anywhere, but we can transmute them by changing the story we tell ourselves. Looking back, I realized something important. Our growth isn't stolen by failure, by not being perfect, by making mistakes, or by being lazy. It's stolen by the following 3 patterns. 1. Letting emotions steer the ship. Emotions are powerful. There's no argument here. But they are not the best leaders. They are more like messengers telling you where you are and what is going on inside you in relation to your outer circumstances and situation. But they are never meant to decide where you're going. Just because you feel scared, uncertain, or lazy doesn't mean that you should give up. Sometimes being scared and uncertain simply mean that you are about to do something unfamiliar, or you're resisting change. But these unfamiliar things or the change that you're about to commit to, they are not necessarily bad things. You know what I mean? So instead of acting on every single emotion that you feel, let them flow through you. Observe them, acknowledge them, and try to understand the story you told yourself that caused you to feel that way. There's always a story. There's always a narrative underlying every single emotion that we have. And never let them decide where you're going. Pattern number 2, waiting for the perfect path. Here's the thing, perfection is an illusion. It's a lie. Life is not like an examination at school where there's only one correct answer. There's no such thing as the perfect path. There's only the path you're already on right now. The one that starts exactly where you are. And if it makes you feel any better, there's actually multiple paths that can lead to your destination. It's the waste of time waiting for the right path to show up. It's easier to just pick a path and commit to it because, believe it or not, every single path eventually leads to your destination. And the common mistake that we all make is believing that we have to wait for the perfect condition to start. But readiness isn't something you find. It's something you build over time. Even small steps create momentum, and that momentum will take you further than waiting ever could. Pattern number 3, clinging to familiarity. Some habits are comforting, I give you that. Imagine having a tough day at work. You're stressed out with all the projects and stuff like that, the last thing you want to do when you get home is to open your journal and start writing down about your feelings, or checking out your to-do list and see if there's anything important that you haven't done. No, you just want to scroll on your phone watching silly videos and laugh a little bit, right? I get it. It feels harmless, but these harmless habits, they are actually anchors, tie you to who you were, not who you are becoming. We all have that idealized version of ourselves that we want to become. And I bet you are even aware of the habits, the harmless habits that actually holding you back, that tie you down to the old version of you. Maybe it's a nightly scroll. Maybe it's saying yes to everyone else and not giving yourself enough time to rest or taking care of yourself. Whatever these habits are for you, it's always easier said than done, right? When the moment comes, it's always easier to choose to do what feels familiar than doing something completely new. But science has proved that letting go of habit is never about exerting willpower, forcing yourself to stop doing something. It's about override old habits with new and better choices. And so in this case, if we want to become a new, upgraded version of ourselves, it's about consciously choosing what serves the version of you that you want to become. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable as fuck. Grow always does. Just thinking back on, like when you first started your job, when you first learned something new, it's always so uncomfortable. You're not sure whether you can do it or not, but look at you right now. It feels like something that you can do while you sleeping. You know what I mean? There's always a time that we feel stupid, but then we become smart as the result of consistently practicing and doing the things that we are not familiar with. So if you're ready to stop giving in to those old habits, here's what worked for me. First, name the anger. Write it down. Be specific. What habits are holding you back to your old patterns? Awareness is the first step to breaking free. 2. Create space for stillness. I used to think that change or transformation comes from doing more, but it actually comes from pausing. Next time when you find yourself gravitate toward, the old pattern, the old habit, take a deliberate pause. Let's start with just 5 minutes. Sit with your thought, your feeling, your discomfort. Let them bubble. And allow yourself space to reset, reevaluate, and reconnect to your goals. Now, in case the habit is so strong, the gravitational pull is just so strong that you just can't help doing it. You just reach out to your phone automatically as if, your hand is not belonging to your body. Here's what I find helpful for myself. When I find myself reach out to my phone, I would say, I intentionally reach out to my phone. When I start scrolling and I catch myself doing that, I would say to myself out loud, I am intentionally scrolling. And then I rephrase it. I say, I intentionally stop scrolling. And then I stop. It's all about bringing awareness and consciousness into your action, right? Because the moment a habit is brought into your consciousness, it's now a choice. It's not a habit anymore. Habit is something that you do automatically, unconsciously. But the moment you become conscious of this habit, it becomes a choice. And now it's all about being integral. It's about taking responsibility for the choices that you make. Third, making micro choices. Here's a reminder for you. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. And thinking that you have to do something quick is what makes you feel overwhelmed, and that eventually leads to procrastination. Remind yourself that changes happen in micro choices. Those small actions that add up over time, you know what I mean? For example, tonight, turn off your phone 30 minutes before you go to bed. No, make it 10, right? 10 minutes, just start small. Or 5 minutes meditation. Doesn't have to sit for an hour, not thinking about anything. Just 5 minutes with your eyes closed and spending some time with your thoughts. And the last step, which is my favorite, visualize your future self. One of the reasons why it's easier for us to fall into the old habit is because we still identify with the old version of ourselves. By visualizing vividly your future self, think about what choices she makes, what sort of demeanor she's holds, her body language, and so on and so forth. What you're doing there is gradually identifying, merging your current version of yourself with that future self, and use that vision to guide your action and eventually bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Growth isn't the result of extraneous actions, of forcing, of exerting willpower. It shouldn't feel like a struggle. Growth is a byproduct of us being in tune with who we are deep down and making decision with the well-being of our future self in mind, instead of purely giving into, the pleasure in the moment. Remember, your future isn't built on hacks or tricks. It's built on choices. And the beautiful thing about choices is that it's entirely yours. Doesn't matter whether you spend 20 years of your life making the same choice, you can always make a new one tomorrow. If you resonate with this, let me know in the comment what one habit you want to let go of. And if you want to dive deeper, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next one.